Gia.
Yo, what up? This is Mike Brown, and this is The Art of Letting Go. What's going on, y'all?
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
We got two special guests. Well, one regular guest in the building, special guest in the building, Crenshaw.
What up? What's going on?
Not too much, man. Last episode we recorded with you was right before you moved to New York.
Right.
And that had to be like, what, a year ago?
Maybe slightly under a year. Probably right about a year.
Yeah. So you've been gone for a year. You back in town. Welcome back.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Just for the people that don't know you, can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Crenshaw. I suck at introducing myself. Guy, moved to New York, from LA, Wichita, born. From LA, moved to New York, back visiting. Yeah.
Crenshaw's a comedian.
Someone working on this.
A dope photographer.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Would you like to introduce yourself to the people? Yeah.
James, aka DatYogaDude Woods. Oh, my bad. And
It's not a
yeah.
Source magazine interview. Yo, we coming to you from the port.
oh yeah, happy to be on the podcast with these two dope, very, very dope creatives, loving creatives. What's this guy named? Mike Brown, podcast creator, fashion designer. He make shoes and merch. Does amazing programming for youth and community work. Crenshaw, when he doesn't have the white around his mouth, he's a funny guy, a writer, stand up on the stage, knock him down, comedian, really a giver, and also coming from the mental health space in a community. Was it psychoanalyzing and overanalyzing a whole bunch of stuff? Nah, he's I'm very blessed to be on the show with some educated, dope, creative, ugly fellas.
I appreciate that, man. That was a really great introduction. Should almost feel like I got to give you one back, but I'm not. Yeah. So yeah, man. As I was on my way over here, I was thinking about just like us going from like sitting in libraries and doing work to now like, you know, thriving in our own spaces and shit, man. I really wanted to start with you, Crenshaw, and just kind of see like just where you been at, man. Like I said, you've been gone for about a year. Like how has that transition been for you?
So it's been a little weird. Definitely going out there. I don't know, moving to a new city as an adult, you know, meeting people is a challenge at times, especially for somebody like myself who's typically introverted and has tendencies to isolate and all that. But
yeah.
So the move kind of enhanced that feeling and kind of shown that part of yourself a little bit more. It's like, oh shit, you got to actually work to get out. You can't be like, oh, the people I know are busy, because you don't know anybody really. So it's like, all right, I really need to not just rely on the isolation and this kind of old way with myself. So in one way, the move has been interesting in that reason. But it's been dope. Otherwise, man, I feel like always going to a new place is a great experience, figuring stuff out, learning more about yourself in the process. And yeah, man, so it's been cool so far.
That's what's up. How have you been occupying your time?
So do a lot of comedy, not as much as I should, but I do that a lot. It's weird that, you know, sometimes you expect to move to, you know, inherently have some change with things, but you can just kind of fall back into old patterns of existing and living. And so that happens at times where I do just kind of chill at home. I can be at home all day sometimes. But doing the comedy was working. But doing the comedy for the most part, and also just kind of getting out and exploring, seeing new stuff in the city.
That's what's up. I would like to hear from both of y'all on how the dating scene is going for you, just because I've kind of taken a break myself, and I know that James has stepped back in, so I'll be curious to hear about that.
Getting back into the dating scene has been interesting. Listening to your last podcast, or maybe the one before, talking about being ready to really offer somebody my time, my energy, my focus. Because the more I spent time with myself, like we talked about before, I took about a year off, calendar year almost off, to really look at what I had to offer. And I was like, man, it's a lot. And look at all the people who were also offering me that love, family, friends, community. And I know how I want to show up in a relationship. And I want to meet somebody who is also prepared to show up to that extent. I don't know what that looks like all the way. I went on maybe a date or two. You know, some women connected with, some women really didn't. Still ain't had no sex. That's it's whatever now. What's up, man? Ew. We out here at the LAC when I'm screaming I ain't had no sex, and somebody just gave me a nod. I'm like,
in any minute.
But man, really still discovering what I want and being able to talk about just the relationships that I have, and has helped me to really discover the relationships that I want to build in. And I'm not in a rush to jump into a relationship, as Mike was talking about in previous podcasts too. Still building on a relationship with my business and with what I contribute to the world and how I want to show up within my purpose. Just looking for somebody to align up with that and for me to give that to somebody. You know, definitely still, it's as a human being, I get lonely. Just want somebody to talk to, want somebody to text me in the morning, want somebody to tell about all the things I've been doing and all that kind of stuff. And it makes me sometimes want to go to old relationships or go to places where I know is not all the way what I want, but it's kind of a piece of what I want. Like, oh, okay, I met somebody, we kind of can talk, I can at least text them. It's like, nah, but I know the other parts ain't there. And I don't know if I'm willing to throw myself into building the other parts. So I'm just really still just trying to be patient with myself and follow my just connection and follow my for lack of a better term, really just follow my heart. If I feel connected to somebody, I'm willing to go deep into a relationship with somebody. But if it's not there, I'm not gonna force it. And that's just where I'm at.
Interesting you said being patient with yourself, because that's definitely something I can I guess identify with and relate to, just in the sense of I feel like I'm at the point or at the place where I want to, not necessarily looking for romantic relationships like that, but seeing how, I guess one thing I was really lacking was just kind of interacting with people and kind of connecting with people and, being genuine when doing that. And so that's kind of where the focus is now, towards meaning if a romantic aspect comes along, that's cool. I mean, I'll be open to that, but it's more so just kind of being aware of how to be, yourself in a relationship and, just in any relationship, whether it be professional or platonic, I guess, friendship or romantic. But so more so the focus now is just trying to, work on being that, like being myself, speaking, my mind and stuff, not just kind of going along with what maybe the conversation might be, or worried about how it will be perceived and changing it up based on that. But really just putting my true self out there, rather. So yeah, that's kind of where it's at now with the dating thing. Like similar to James, when I've been on a couple dates and nothing wasn't like, oh shit, this is the rest of my life right here. But just kind of getting out there, slowly putting a toe in the water and seeing what comes back.
That's what's up. I definitely agree with you on just getting in tune with yourself, because I know for me, I get lost in relationships, or I have in the past.
Yeah.
So now I've been building up myself just to really, really understand who I am. So when somebody else does come into this space, it's like they are in addition to it, and I'm not so much trying to attach to them.
Just wanted to ask both of y'all, being in the space of choosing what you're doing over a relationship, how do y'all deal with those times when somebody or a situation come up where it's like it's in between, you have to choose between your purpose or what you're doing in a relationship? Is it like, how do you stand by what you're doing, or do you say, you know what, it is time for me to just to maybe engage somebody else? But you know what I mean?
Right. So that hasn't specifically come up for me yet, but one thing I guess I've in the, like I was saying, kind of being yourself and being your true self. One thing that I am just trying to be is like more honest about who I am from the jump, and what I'm looking for and what I'm trying to do. So it's like, I mean, I'm sure there might be a riff or an argument at some point, but if you kind of stay consistent with, I'm kind of working on this, and this is my primary focus right now, and being comfortable saying that, and actually saying it, not just thinking it and expecting that person to understand it. So kind of just being yourself from the jump, being honest from the jump. So.
I agree with that. I think for me it's very similar to that, and more so being clear with myself than the other person, and also like not just with my words but with my actions too, and like for me, the clarity and that communication is so important. So I have to check in with myself a lot to make sure I'm still feeling what I'm feeling and express it to that person and see what they feel. Because I mean, me, I definitely could catch feelings real fast.
He be caring about you.
Be in love real quick. Oh, you're so special. And now it's like, for me, I understand. Because I think in my journey, I didn't know myself in that realm of the world. So I was trying to impress people, kind of going above and beyond. And it's like, okay, I know who the fuck I am. So now I want to see who other people are. But at the same time, I know that's not my focus. So it's like not even putting that energy into it and telling somebody straight up like, hey, this is what I'm working on. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm really focused on right now. I don't have the energy to invest in this, me personally.
Yeah, I do want a long-term relationship. I do want to be married eventually. So I feel like I need to lay tracks for that. At the same time, continue to lay tracks for my career, my purpose, my vision, and everything. So I feel that pressure sometimes from myself, and then from looking outwards too, seeing people get married and wanting to have that marriage, and hearing people like, yeah, man, get you a good wife, and you be, and like I said, wanting that. But at the same time, I can't put that over who I am. Like you said, taking time to really learn from that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was saying, I think that sound, as far as like laying the tracks for like your career and also for relationships, it's kind of one and the same. Because I feel like if you're not happy with that aspect of your life, whether that be career and all that, then you're not gonna be able to be your best self, for lack of a better term, in a relationship. And so I think that's at least for me, that's a lot of kind of what I'm working on, just kind of like working on like career and all that, but also just like, how I feel about myself, and trying to get to the best place there before, necessarily taking a bunch of issues into a new relationship and all that. So it's, I think it's one and the same. Getting yourself right is getting right for other people.
Yeah. And I think, for me, the priority, prior to coming out, the priority was the quote unquote career or the passion. And when I put myself in a space to be able to be open and being free with myself, like dating and relationships and like the romantic side became the focus, I think, because I never experienced it before. I think about that a lot of times when I think about shit. Y'all are just friends in general, like from high school and shit. Like people had the opportunity to date, high school. I was 27 years old in my first relationship. So it was a lot of learning that took place. And, now like being where I'm at, it's like, okay, I've done that. I pursued it. I've tried it. Now let me see if I spent the next 6 years pursuing what I really want to pursue and what comes out of that.
And dating as a kid, I feel like as an adult now, after that year especially, it feels like I'm dating for the first time, because I'm dating with the purpose of being in a long-term relationship or exploring that is different from as a kid just trying to have sex or just doing something to do something. And now it's in a place where I know how much a relationship is going to either add value or take value away from me. So going into relationships, I try to shut it off of thinking like, oh, okay, she picked up the fork with the left hand. Nah, I can't do it. And just criticizing and judging and psychoanalyzing and all that, and really stepping away from that and just having fun and enjoying people. And Mike, you have preached that to me a lot, of just being able to enjoy people and spend time with people for what it is, just enjoy dating and getting to know people for what it is. And I still really don't like it. I don't like it because I feel like
you don't like getting to know people? What do you mean? Or
I don't like doing the dating thing.
right.
Yeah, I don't like it because it's awkward. It's weird. A lot of times I feel like when I'm clear and concise with people, I don't get what I want sometimes.
Right.
Then it's like, you know what, I'm not really interested in you. I'm probably just interested in having sex with you, or I'm just not interested with you at all. And sometimes people don't. It's a messy thing. But I know, as we talked about, it's a part of just me getting more comfortable being myself and being authentic. Like, hey, no matter what, I got to be authentic, whatever the outcome is. But just dating it's messy. And I don't want to be that person of, as you always say too, I can do bad all by myself. But just go through the process with it.
Right.
That's what's up. Kind of transitioning away from dating, I was curious to know, would y'all younger selves be proud of who you are today? Like, would your younger self look up to you today?
There are aspects. I think more so now, like kind of moving away from like academia and kind of pursuing that and kind of really going after what genuinely brings me, joy and interest and all that. I think younger self would be proud of that. Still think there's like mistakes and stuff that you kind of which I don't know if it's a younger self or like a inner self right now that is still kind of upset and kind of critical of past mistakes and stuff like that. And so, I mean, it almost feels like your younger self kind of you are kind of very critical of yourself, which I can be and am most of the time, not most of the time, whenever, as you can be. It feels like, you're mad at the mistakes that you made in the past, so it's like that self is like stuck there, like, man, why would you make that decision, why'd you do this, blah 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 blah. And then it's your kind of current self now dealing with all that stuff. So yeah.
So how do you make peace with those parts of yourself in order to move past them?
That's what I'm figuring out now. One, I guess, acceptance. Just accepting that shit, you fuck up sometimes, you make mistakes, you veer off your path. And also, I don't know, I guess it's like kind of removing value from decisions and kind of things that happen. Like, things happen, like, you're going to be on this earth for X amount of years, X amount of time, and stuff has to happen. Like, whether you consider it good or bad, you kind of place that value on it, like, oh, this was something bad that happened, it was something good that happened, and then now it's like accepting that it is something that happened and it's just this thing, and now you can choose, I guess, how to react to it, and choose to either be upset with it and kind of look at it as this negative thing that's had whatever consequences, and that kind of just leads to me kind of being upset but not fixing it because it is something that's already happened, or just kind of being like, well, fuck it, it is what it is at this point, and then you have to adjust for this day, if that makes sense. Like, whatever the day is, you got to do what feels right and feels like the direction you should be headed at that point. So
my younger self would not be proud of me, and my younger self would not be proud of me because of the things that my younger self aspired to have and to recognize. So I'm looking up to rappers and people with a bunch of money and stuff. I live with my parents right now. So my younger self was like, nah, but my younger self would have been so intrigued by me. My younger self would have wanted to be around me. My younger self would have asked me a bunch of questions, but consciously my younger self would not have recognized what I had to offer them, because I'm looking for the money, the honey, you know, and I'm just offering my younger self freedom. You dig? So, you know what I'm saying? But like really being real with myself, no, because I still have that younger self in me that still wants the flashy cars and a bunch of girls and all that kind of stuff, and that's that critical part of me. Like, you ain't there yet.
Right.
What you was admiring at 11 years old, 12 years old, you still ain't got that, so I can't give you all the props. People don't say props no more, but I can't give you all that. And so, but I remember as a kid, it was some men and probably some women too, but really some men who were like different and had something different about them, and I just always wanted to be around them and kind of figure out. They didn't have all the stuff that you seen on TV, but I knew they had something to offer, and I feel like I would have been that person. And as a kid, I wasn't conscious that if I was proud of them or not. Just like, man, I want to be around this person versus I need another FUBU jersey.
That's real. I think I don't know. Some parts of me, I do feel like my younger self would definitely be proud of and connect to. Because I look at just some of the people that I had looked up to. It wasn't like you said, for the flash. I wasn't really looking up to them for the flash. It was more so just how they carried themselves and just being themselves and just not giving a fuck. Granted, most of them ended up being like rappers and shit like that. But like the people I most connected to were like Pharrell and Kanye, or even Currency. Like when I was living in New Orleans, Currency was like the coolest nigga to me, and he wasn't super flashy and no shit like that. He was regular, but just cool, you know. So I think I would have looked up to me at this point. What advice? Well, before we go there, because I don't know when the next time we gonna see you, Crenshaw. What's next for you?
Like as far as just whatever.
Just
like
everything.
So I guess trying to stay in New York a little bit longer. She's looking for a job out there. Definitely trying to, maybe not within the next year, the next 2 or 3, maybe depending on how stuff goes. Trying to like transition out of like social service work and all that, and maybe trying to I don't know if I could do comedy full time by that point, but you know, something closer to that world as far as being able to support myself that way financially. Definitely trying to grow individually. I mean, I think it's a new year, all that, so you kind of that time of reflection and looking forward to changes that you want to make and stuff, but really just trying to improve personally, I guess, is kind of the biggest thing. I think that career and making moves and all that sometimes for some people, myself included, can overshadow like introspective growth and like doing real work on yourself. So trying to be more mindful of that and be more conscious of making decisions based on how that would benefit me mentally, emotionally, all that wellness aspects of me. So it's kind of where it is now.
That's what's up. What about you? What's next for you?
More of what I'm doing, taking it to the level where I've been seeing it for a long time, but have been afraid to go, and using the excuse of, oh, I don't know. Like, it's no excuse to say I don't know. So much information out there. Really looking at myself and saying, you scared, and going past that. So getting myself more online and creating more content to let people into what I'm doing. Just growing up, not letting people into what I'm doing has just been a part of my personality. I'm letting that go. Somebody said the other day that they didn't really see my other friends, and I've never been a person that my one set of friends haven't meet really with the other set of friends, always been separate, and really letting that go, because I have a powerful group of people in my life, and moving forward and really supporting my friends more, man. It definitely has been a proud moment and proud moments of seeing my two best friends, Bert and Ernie, really doing the work. Just really seeing Crenshaw writing jokes, like, man, he doing the dirty work of writing it, and seeing Mike Brown editing and setting up the websites and doing the dirty work of creating a podcast, because we spend a lot of time in coffee shops, we spend a lot of time in libraries talking about stuff and BSing and kind of just playing around with school and playing around with a bunch of ideas. To see them really put in the work, I'm talking to y'all, see y'all really put in the work to accomplish your dreams, even when it get hard, even when it's not pretty, has been inspiring me. So definitely learning more about myself, that I got to stay around that energy. I can't isolate. I can't cut myself off. That don't work for me. I can get work done with my friends, with my family, in community, and being able to be intimate with people on that level of just loving them and being loved. I know. Intimate. Ooh. And we've known each other 16 years, but we never got older than 16. Still making the same jokes. You don't care about her.
Oh man,
Oh shit.
But he actually, I don't know, kind of made me think of other stuff. But yeah, kind of watching you, Mike, and kind of what you've done with the podcast has just definitely been inspiring. I guess, as being comfortable with yourself and open with yourself, and kind of putting your true self out there is definitely been, like I said, inspiring and admirational. Something I admire about you. I've been saying admirable. There we go. That's that Xavier education paying off. I went to Dillard. That's why. But yeah, so I got to say that, man, watching you do your thing, and definitely inspiring, and something I want to do better in myself, and just being more truthful and honest and open. So appreciate you.
Damn, Kelly, Michelle. Y'all gave me some powerful words. No, but I really do. No, I was holding that one for a little while. But nah, man, I really appreciate y'all so much, man. Like, I don't think I would be here without y'all, just being able to, be so vulnerable and have people that I can, express when I feel good, express when I feel bad, and really just be there through all that shit. And man, if I could give both of y'all any piece of advice, man, it would just be to be kind to yourself, man. Like, I just know from experience, talking shit to yourself or not feeling like you worth what you deserve, that shit just gonna keep digging you into a deeper pit. So man, if you can find that shit, and even if you don't know what that shit looks like, try, man. For me, I had to really let myself know, like, I don't know who the fuck I am, because if I'm seeing myself this way and everybody else is seeing me like, all these positive things, I need to fucking see that shit. So let go of that shit, man. One more thing I wanted to ask y'all was, out of everything that you've learned in your life, like, what is one piece of advice that you could give to somebody else at this point in your life?
You can go first. You know something?
Okay. Thank you, Michelle. I'm definitely Kelly. One piece of advice that I could give to somebody from my life. Oh man, I just hold on, keep going, keep going towards freedom. Listening to that Will Smith interview where he talks about, letting go of that self that you had to build up. It is a constant process in that life, in this life. Just hold on, keep going. Sometimes you don't feel like doing it. Sometimes you feel like, what am I doing this for? But just, I don't know, it sounds basic, it sounds like a gospel song, but just really just hold on, keep going, keep dreaming. Keep finding those spaces where you feel good at. I know some places that I didn't feel good, but I put myself in them because I thought that's what I was supposed to be, and that's what I was supposed to be doing. No, go where you feel good. Go where you feel good, and feel free to feel free.
First off, Michelle was understated beauty, and she was the special one in the group. Had the most personality and charm about herself. It wasn't all about the looks. Michelle was the.
Shout out Michelle, man. Yeah, y'all from H-Town.
Yeah. So I guess the advice what I give would be to not don't worry about looking cool, I guess. Something that has hindered me in the past. I mean, just be okay looking stupid, looking silly, and be okay looking stupid, looking silly, pursuing whatever ideas you have. Don't just let these things sit and go to waste. So if you're thinking about doing something, start doing it. It might not work out the first time, but fuck it, keep going. It hardly ever works out the first time. Like, nobody gets it right first go around. So just keep pushing whatever interesting thing you're thinking about doing, and don't waste time. Yeah,
that's dope, man. I appreciate y'all being here. Can y'all please share with the listeners where they could find you, what you got going on, because they listening.
Crenshaw Rashad on Instagram. Gonna be doing more shows in the New York area this year, so stay on the lookout. Please come support those when I post about it. Instagram, Crenshaw Rashad. Crenshaw_Rashad. There you go.
www.feelfree2feelfree.net. FEELFREE2FEELFREE.net. That's difficult. Check us out, and then also DatYogaDude.com, and go to the Instagram page, DatYogaDude, DatYogaDude.com. So we are launching our first ever live webinar. We've been doing this work for the last 10 years plus, really, of working with youth, mentoring with our clinical practices, and also adding into the yoga and just all the work we put together into a live training on how you can bring in social, emotional, and wellness programs in the school. So if you have youth that you work with, whether it's a church program, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, I don't care. If you feel like the youth that you serve can just use some tools to help them relax and calm down and focus, we're doing a live training to equip you with those tools. I mean, we know they work. We have all the clinical studies. We have all the background, and like I said, years and years and years of putting this work into place, and now we want to train more people to do the work that we do, showing you all the steps of even how to get into the schools, get into the programs, how to train the people, all the stuff. So send us a DM, send us an email to any of those sites, DatYogaDude on Instagram, or DatYogaDude.com, or www.feelfree2feelfree.net, or email me, james.woods@feelfree2feelfree.net, so I can share with you our free curriculum that, man, got us in the schools and got us paid and stuff too. Show you how to get paid doing the work that you've been purposed to do. Help some kids and help some people out. So check us out.
And you can find these brothers on Tinder, baller.com, or whatever app you were looking for. I don't know. But yeah, man, thank y'all for listening. And this is The Art of Letting Go. Peace. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of The Art of Letting Go. If you like what you heard, please be sure to subscribe to us wherever you listen to this podcast, and leave a comment.